Ben? 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 Ben!
Oh, right. Announcement time.
On November 7th, Ben, myself, as well as a few other close friends will be joining forces together, online through Discord. Not exactly a safe idea to be all gathered up now, is it? Anyway, Ben, you want to tell them this year's theme?
But of course, this year, we are celebrating Pac-Man's 40th anniversary with Pac-Man Fever.
And that's it. We're just going to be playing the Buckner and Garcia song for 24 hours straight.
No, we're not. We will be spending the whole event playing a bunch of Pac-Man games. Yes, there's more than just a classic arcade lineup, believe it or not. You have games like Pac-Man World, Pac-Man Indigo Sea Adventures, Pac-Land, Pac-Attack.
2-pack?
No, John. No. As always, we'll be raising money for CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, helping children in need, and in this year especially, they really need it. This year's major incentive prize will be a Pac-Man 40th Anniversary arcade machine. Look at this thing!
That thing is a beaut. I want one for myself, damn it.
It's a minimum $50 donation. It will be limited to North American residents only. I know, kind of a change of how we usually do things, but to make up for it, we will also be giving away a Nintendo Switch. A minimum $25 donation, and everyone's eligible for that.
You can live in Pac-Land and it will somehow get it to you. And as always, we're not alone for this adventure. You got myself, Ben, and my uncle and my family from SGB returning from some laughs, but we also got some guests, including, but not limited to, Chris Clark from the PJ Campbell Network, my co-hosts Nathan, Dan and Pat from Console Wars, The Pituation from WMMR, Tony Pearson, Dean DeFalco from Geek Aid, Kelly from Florida, the Mad Hatter from Radio Bucks, King K, and a bunch of others if they answer their voicemails. That's November 7th starting at noon EST and ending the next day at noon EST, and it's not in the middle of daylight savings time ending this year. Oh my god, this year is saved. And as before, it will be simulcast on YouTube and Twitch, covering both bases there. It's Pac-Man Fever for Extra Life's game day. Come on down and watch a yellow dude and his girlfriend gobble a whole bunch of balls.
Ooh, suddenly soundtracks are here to provide you. Suddenly soundtracks will show you care. Oh, be more the soundtrack inside you with sweet understanding. Oh, with sweet understanding. With sweet understanding. Soundtracks are your friend. Hey guys, welcome to Suddenly Soundtracks here. Oh, I'm getting an echo. Yes, I am. It's awesome. Give me 1 second. We're here doing Halloween party. We're going to be making and procuring a playlist of Halloween songs, and I'm here with Tim, Rachel, and Danny from Call to Action. So, Tim, before we get started, how fun was it to create your Halloween playlist?
It was a lot of fun. I already kind of have like a Halloween playlist that I've just already had. So it was just kind of a matter of me like picking 10 songs specifically from that to include on this list. As my list progresses, it won't be a surprise to see like kind of how my playlist kind of leans in terms of like music style. Just knowing like if you know what I like to listen to. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love spooky songs. I love horror themed music, so I'm rocking my Devil Lock, representing the Misfits here. My name for the night is Tim Danzig, so I'm not as buff as Danzig though.
Yeah,
110%.
Rachel, it's been a while since you've been on Suddenly Soundtracks. It's so great to see you.
I know.
Again.
I'm so glad to be back.
I'm so glad. You know what? We're the Scary Music Squad tonight. We're the Scary Music Squad.
Yeah.
How fun was it for you to create this Halloween playlist for yourself?
Like Tim, and I'm pretty sure like Danny, we already had lists together because like we're all very musically minded. And so the way that I curated my list was I knew the people that were going to be on the panel. So I was like, well, I don't want us just to be talking about the same songs. So like I left a lot of songs off of my list because I knew that someone else would pick them up and put them on their list. If they fall through the cracks, it would be real sad. But I think it's going to be a really fun mix of like classic Halloween songs and then like songs from artists that maybe a few people haven't heard. So I'm really excited to see what we've all got on our lists.
Yeah, and Danny, this is your first time being on Suddenly Soundtracks itself. How fun was it for you to create the playlist and stuff?
This was a lot of fun for me. And again, like Tim and Rachel, I already had a playlist kind of made for a Halloween party, so I did go through it. But I did kind of want to. I really was doing the same thing that Rachel was doing and thinking about who else was on this panel, and did the same thing. I was like, oh well, I'm not going to pick this one because someone's probably definitely going to pick it. So we'll see how that goes with which one does slip through the cracks. I bet one did get through. But overall, this was a very fun experience, and listening to this playlist was so much fun. Like everyone's got such a I feel like most of us here still have a similar taste, but in a variety of that, if that makes sense. So
100%.
Yeah, so that's why I'm super excited to see how this whole playlist goes together. I'm
going into a different brand for 1 second. Give me a second. This is the Scary Movie Squad brand, just to get our patron thumbnail. Our patrons, I just want to. I know it's not. It's still Frank and Weenie. It's a little Halloween related. Our executive producers, I want to shout out Brandy Parker and Ricardo Franco. You guys are amazing. And our Ruby tier producers, Brandon Buckingham, Kiel the Youth Critic, Stephen White, Fair Smithana, Michael K. Bedour, and Molly Damon. You guys are rock stars. Bada bing. I also want to just go into what is happening next week on Suddenly Soundtracks, which is going to be the Extra Life. Part of the Extra Life thing on November 4th is going to be me, some call me Johnny, his crew, and Sully. We're going to be talking about retro video game soundtracks. It's going to be a soundboard Survivor Island, so be sure to check that out, same time as usual. Also, tomorrow night we are going to be watching Sleepy Hollow, and on Halloween we're going to be watching a double feature of Trick or Treat and Halloween 2018, and on Tuesday, while the election is happening, we're going to have a PJCN safe space. We're just going to be streaming, doing some games and stuff. Anybody's invited to hop on if you have a link. So it's going to be fun. Safe space is going to just be there to chill as the election results come in, and we can keep positivity. Make sure to go out and vote. So this is a different format than Survivor Island. We're just going to be making a playlist, and once we get all of our songs on this playlist, we're going to send this playlist out and tweet it out. We're just making a Halloween party playlist perfect for us and the panel. This is super easy, and we're going to actually go. I know you see Maxwell in the graphic. He was originally on. He wasn't feeling too well. He's not able to. If he feels like coming on later, we're gonna let him get all his picks in. Or I'm just gonna say all his picks. It's a simple fix. But Tim, we're gonna go to you first. You're gonna do 3 songs. What are your first 3 picks for the playlist?
Okay, my first 3 picks are the Halloween 3 Silver Shamrock commercial from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I had to put it in there.
Of course.
I'll talk more about him as I reveal him. My next one is Dark Knight by the Blasters. And my third one I'll put in here is Surfin' Dead by the Cramps.
That's phenomenal.
So I mean, the Halloween commercial is, I sing it every year because I watch that movie every year. But Silver Shamrock, it's great. It's catchy. And then Dark Knight, I'm not too sure if the audience is familiar with that song, but by the Blasters, it's a rockabilly type song, but it's actually featured heavily in the Robert Rodriguez film From Dusk Till Dawn, kind of basically the theme to that movie. But it's a really great, just kind of like dark, sounding tune. And then Surfin' Dead is just a really fun. I mean, the Cramps, all their music is kind of like horror themed, but it's just a really fun kind of surf kind of punk song. So, and it's also featured in Return of the Living Dead, which is my favorite zombie film because it's punk rock zombie film.
Awesome. Rachel,
so those are my 3.
Yeah, Rachel, what are your thoughts on any song in particular that he chose for this playlist that sticks out?
I mean, I'm an old school punk fan, so having the Cramps on there like just makes me real happy. The commercial, like, I should have expected it because it's so you. It just makes me giggle. And then Dark Knight, I don't think I've heard that one too many times, but it's definitely like I know I've heard it and I know the song, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a fun one. It's yeah, it's a little boppy.
Yep.
Shake your
Danny.
head.
Yeah, same thing as Rachel. So I'm not familiar with Dark Knight. I will definitely go back and listen to it a bunch of times. The Cramps, honestly, you can just put on the Cramps and just let that be a Halloween playlist. Like, let's be real, because that's just the type of band they are. They're amazing. And that Halloween commercial, I knew that I that was the one that I figured that's Tim. That's got to be one of Tim's.
That's Tim.
It was so catchy and so much fun. I was like bouncing around my house like while I was washing dishes, singing that song. It was so much fun. That is definitely a fun song to put on a playlist for that reason, to give everyone that earworm, and then it makes people remember your party. So that's definitely a fun song for a playlist.
100%. Tim, you chose 3 phenomenal songs. I really am partial to that Halloween commercial thing. It's really, really catchy. It's like an earworm that if it's at a party and somebody hears it, everybody's going to be in a very good mood, especially if you're drunk. It's great. 110%. Rachel, what are your 3 picks?
Yes.
First 3. Go for it.
So my first 3 is This Is Halloween by Marilyn Manson from the punk rock version of the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack. As problematic as he is a terrible, terrible human being. Fuck you, Brian. But there's something about Marilyn Manson songs that are just dark and creepy and kind of sexy, and the fact that he's covering This Is Halloween is kind of amazing. My second one is a classic that I'm sure is on somebody else's list. It's Zombie by the Cranberries. It's just kind of, this creepy, slow song that has some great guitars and drums in it. It's just kind of a classic for me. And then you got to have a fun one. And so I put Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell. It's just like, there's something that really creeps me out about being like watched. So this song, while fun, like still kind of like makes me check my windows and doors to make sure they're locked. But yeah, I love these songs. They make me so happy.
That song really it really perfectly encompasses the feeling of being watched, which is such an unexplainable feeling. Like, that you're being watched. I don't really know the science behind it. Of course, the Marilyn Manson This Is Halloween is a classic. I think that's a great pick, and I'm really glad that you got that represented because his arrangement is great. And then Zombie, that her voice is phenomenal. Yeah. Tim, throwing it to you. Any thoughts on these 3?
Yeah, I mean anything from A Nightmare Before Christmas is great, and then that whole album where it's like rock covers, they're all pretty good. Yeah. But I mean, Marilyn Manson was like the perfect choice for this song specifically, and it works, and it's a lot of fun. Zombie is like a really smart like Halloween song because it's not like scary in the sense that it's a horror song, but it's a song about like real life like horror because it's about an IRA car bombing, and it was like a song done in protest. So it's like one of those like this is real life shit they're talking about. And then I mean at a party you got to have a dance song, and Somebody's Watching Me is that's a dance song, and it's basically about someone watching you. So perfect.
It's so creepy.
It is.
Danny, go for it.
Yeah, Somebody's Watching Me is one of those songs that anytime I get that feeling like that, like that's instantly what I sing to myself. I always feel like, and it's so much fun. And what a fun song, and the history behind that song with Berry Gordy's son being, I believe that's who it is that is singing this song. And then with Michael Jackson being on the chorus behind it, a lot of people thought this was a Michael Jackson song. So that's a song with a lot of fun history behind it too. And then the Cranberries, that Zombie song, that's just a classic song. And her voice, like in that song, like you feel it, and it is a protest song, and the words behind it are really strong, and but oh man, the way she sings that song is so good, and it's definitely a song that should be And Marilyn Manson doing that cover for This Is Halloween, like those riffs are so good. Like,
They're so crunchy.
They're so good. Yes, it really is true. I love fun stuff like that. Like anytime an artist that wouldn't typically make a particular type of song covers something like that, I love it. Newfound Glory did a bunch of movie cover songs. I don't know if you remember those albums, Rachel.
Oh, girl, please. I have like all 17 volumes.
I love shit like that. So that is absolutely my stuff right there. I didn't even ask if we could cuss on here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Some of the soundtracks is great to cuss on. Go for it.
Sorry, but yeah, absolutely. Those are great picks. I love those, Rachel. And those are very you picks. I like that.
I also just want to shout out the chat. Thank you guys so much for being so active. You guys are amazing. I have my focuses elsewhere, but if you guys see any comments you want to highlight, just let me know. Who that was Danny. We're gonna go to Danny. Danny, what are your 3 picks?
Alrighty, so my first one is a fun one. It's Werewolf Bar Mitzvah from 30 Rock.
Fun one. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite Halloween songs. 30 Rock is one of my favorite shows. It was just a fun show with a lot of meta humor in it, and this is just like a throwaway thing. And then hearing this whole song, it's so funny. And then of course I had to go with the very classic.
Yeah.
Monster Mash. You can't have a Halloween playlist without Monster Mash. You need it on there. Everyone has to have that. And then my third one is Oingo Boingo, Dead Man's Party. This is just a fun song. This is a fun song to hear. It's a blast, and I recently found out that it was.
Can we punt that?
Yes. Okay. There it is. There's one.
But it's literally coming up next.
oh, that's perfect. So I'm gonna go to you, Rachel. Though the other 2 songs, what are your thoughts on those?
The Werewolf Bar Mitzvah is very Danny. I love that. And like Monster Mash is one of those ones that I was like, this definitely is a classic. It plays at every Halloween party ad nauseum. And so it has to be played. Like you can't say that you had a Halloween party without playing Monster Mash. Like it's like saying you had a birthday party without singing Happy Birthday. Like it doesn't compute. And Dead Man's Party, we'll talk about that later.
110%. A lot of I'm glad I put this panel together because we all kind of had the same kind of like music vibe, and I dig it. Tim, what are your thoughts on these 2 songs? We're gonna get to Dead Man's Party.
There's a couple songs on this overall playlist that I haven't heard before, and I haven't actually seen a lot of 30 Rock, but so I hadn't heard this song, and I thought it was hilarious, and I really liked it. It's super catchy and just it's really fun. And you always gotta have some fun songs on there. Monster Mash is, it's a classic. It's like, it's a classic Halloween track. Funny thing about Monster Mash, every time I think of it or hear it, I always think of The Office, because there's that part later, like much later season where they're playing the Monster Mash at one of the Halloween parties, and Jim and Pam is talking about it, but she's actually mad at Jim over something, and so Kevin's like, man, but she's talking about Monster Mash, but she's actually referring to Jim, and Kevin's like, oh, Pam really hates Monster Mash. Don't bring that up. But yeah, and Dead Man's Party we'll talk about, but that was gonna be on my playlist, but I figured someone would have it on here, so I didn't include it. But
awesome, yeah, these are phenomenal picks, Danny. Monster Mash in particular, I always grew up with obviously the Boris Karloff version. I thought I did. But then I realized, no, this is the version I feel like is played more than Boris's, I think, because of the voice. Is that, do you guys find that or no? Because I feel like this is the version that I'm more familiar with for some reason. I don't know.
This is definitely the version I'm more familiar with.
Yeah. Because I guess I'm just like, if you ever watch the old Rankin Bass show, you know that version of Monster Mash with Boris. But a Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, I just want to just say this right off the bat. I didn't know this song existed, and this is one of the funnest freaking things ever. That I wish. This sounds like this should be like a Rankin Bass special. This sounds really, really fun, and I'm glad this exists. Thank you, Danny, for introducing this to us. Go for it.
I do want to say something about Werewolf Bar Mitzvah. So Rachel and I earlier were talking about curating a playlist and what it means to play songs in particular places. And Werewolf Bar Mitzvah was actually the last song on my playlist, because that's how you close a party out, y'all. Everyone leaves with a big old funny smile on their face. So I'm glad you all enjoyed that. That makes me feel really good.
I'm just really sad that we didn't get to watch Chris listen to Werewolf Bar Mitzvah for the first time because that would have been like a Patreon tier all in itself. Like
it made me happy. It really, really did. I'm actually going to go to my three, and hopefully these are interesting picks. PJ, you're in the chat. This one is for you. This is the whole being dead thing from the Beetlejuice musical. I have Mean Green Mother from Outer Space from Little Shop of Horrors. I don't think that's a surprise. And then I have from Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Once More with Feeling soundtrack, Rest in Peace by James Masters, who plays Spike. These three songs are, I feel like, very, very catchy, very fun, especially the whole being dead thing. I was struggling which song from Beetlejuice to put on, and I actually went to PJ for assistance for this, and he suggested this song, and I think this is the appropriate song for a Halloween party. Mean Green Mother is on our top villain songs. If you guys check that out, when we did that a couple months back, and of course, I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a very fantastic show, and the musical episode is one of its best. And I think James Masters killed it with Rest in Peace. Dana, I'm going to throw it to you. What are your thoughts on these three songs?
I love this. This is a perfect little trio right there. To just suggest those three alone are so great. The whole being dead thing is such a fun song to introduce that show to, especially if you're at a party with people that aren't familiar with the Beetlejuice show, because that show is bomb and it's such a bummer with everything that happened to it, but it's a wonderful, wonderful show, and that song is a fun way to introduce it to it. Little Shop of Horrors, like you have to have that on a playlist. So a lot of the Broadway songs, I knew that I was on here with Max and Chris, so I was like, I think they got that part covered. So this is one thing that I'm glad that you put on here also, because Little Shop of Horrors is just a great show in itself, and I 100% agree with you on the Buffy thing. I love Buffy. I need to finish it. Honestly, I haven't finished it. I know how it ends, but I haven't actually
What season did you get up to?
I'm on season 3.
Season 3 is the best season with the mayor. But if you finish that is the best finale of any of them, I feel. But yeah, keep going. It's great.
So good.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Yeah. Rachel, have you ever seen Buffy, and what are your thoughts on these three?
I have absolutely binged Buffy.
Yeah, I think.
It's wonderful, and the musical episode is amazing. It's so good. This is definitely a trio that I would have played at a Halloween party while I was on tour with my Broadway kids, because this is perfect. I feel like if I played this for anybody outside of like maybe like the four of us and Max and PJ, like I would just get blank stares and be like, what is playing? But then I would disappear because I would go and log into Broadway HD, because now I would have to watch Beetlejuice, because you can't listen to that opening number without being like, and we're here for the next 2.5 hours and I'm watching this and I'm going to watch Alex sing his face off, and I love it. It's amazing. I love them all so dearly. It must have been really hard deciding which which
Little
Shop song to put in.
There was a bunch, but I felt
there's a few. There's a few to go in there, but I really love these three, and it makes me very, very happy.
Yeah. If you ask me on a different day, I might have picked Supper Time or Feed Me. Tim, what are your thoughts on these three?
This is like just a pure like fun 3 songs, pure joy. I'm not super familiar with the Beetlejuice musical. I haven't really dove into it fully, but I do know this song, and I do like this song a lot. So this is a great pick. Rest in Peace is just, I mean, it's great. That episode is amazing. If you've never seen it, check it out. I mean, check out the whole show, but when you get to that episode, you'll really love it. And this is a devil lock. It's a Misfits thing. Google Misfits. They're a punk band. Anyways, and then Mean Green Mother from Outer Space is like one of my favorite songs, like in like terms of musicals, and it's one of the things I love about the movie version of Little Shop, because it's because of that song. And I mean, Levi Stubbs. I mean, I'm partial to Motown, and Levi Stubbs was great in the Four Tops, and then he killed it as Audrey too. And this song is amazing. So
cool.
That's my thought.
Awesome. So Tim, I'm actually going to throw it to you since you're back at the top of the list. What are your next 3?
My next 3, we have one probably people weren't too familiar with prior to me putting it on this list.
No.
It's called Case of the Zombies by the Mission Creeps. They're a local band here in Tucson, and they're actually really, really good. I'm good friends with the 2 of them. They're a husband and wife duo. And then we got R.E. Your Brains by Jonathan Colton. And then my final third one is He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask by Alice Cooper, which, of course, is the title track for Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. So, yeah, I mean, these three songs, Case of the Zombies is like my favorite song by the Mission Creeps because it was like the first song I ever heard them play back when I saw them play live many years ago. It's just a really great song. I mean, it's got that spooky, like they use a theremin in it, which I don't know if people are familiar with what that is, but it's a little device that gives you that woo sound. And just a great song about zombies, and it's got kind of a surf feel, grunge surf kind of feel to it. Ari Your Brains is a hilarious song. This one, and to be transparent, this one was a decision right before the show started because I forgot I forgot about this song. And today when I was listening to our overall playlist, I was like, there was another song that reminded me of it, and I was like, holy cow, how did I forget this song? This song is great. I mean, it's just like this acoustic jam about a guy, and he's being stalked by his office coworker who's now a zombie, and he wants to come into his house and eat his brains, and it's hilarious. And then the Friday the 13th. I love Friday the 13th, and this song is just a great, rocking song about Jason. So that's it.
I really appreciate that you put an independent indie artist on here because yes,
I have a couple.
Yeah. This was really, really, really interesting. Like what they did with instruments and how they produced this song was really, really cool. I'm glad you put this Return Your Brain song in because I dig this too, and you can't go wrong with Alice Cooper. Cooper, he's one of the best. Rachel, what are your thoughts on these three songs?
So I haven't listened. I haven't gotten to the Case of the Zombies yet. But knowing Tim and knowing what type of bands exist in Arizona, and what just the title of the song, I'm really looking forward to it like popping up on the playlist. Re Your Brain sounds incredibly enjoyable. I'm so looking forward to checking it out because, like Tim said, he added it just before we started, so I don't think any of us have gotten a chance to listen to it. And Alice Cooper may be making an appearance a little bit later as well. But I love this pick.
Danny, go for it.
This is so perfect because I love that we're all very much into a local music scene. I feel like we all have that background. It's all that good stuff. Case of the Zombies was one of the songs that I listened to. I just have to show you, because I loved this song, Tim. Like this was probably
check out all their albums. I mean, all their songs are like spooky because they're that's their whole thing is sci-fi horror, and they're great.
This song is super enjoyable. Y'all go and check this song out. I'm so happy to know that they're a local band, an indie band, because
they do tour across the country in a non-COVID world. They do tour. They go to California and Texas a lot. So
nice. Perfect. So, that's awesome. I love that. And then Re Your Brains, I want to listen to that as soon as I can because that sounds like a lot of fun. I love songs that storytell. There's one other song that I heard on here that we'll get to later that is a storytelling song. I love Halloween storytelling songs like that. Those are just so much fun. And Alice Cooper, you can't go wrong with Alice Cooper at all in a Halloween playlist. Come on, man.
I just want to say, Mike K, those songs that you listed that you would add to this playlist, I will not confirm nor deny if some of them are going to pop up soon. So, yeah. Those are some great choices. But, Rachel, I'm going to throw it to you. What are your next three picks?
So my next three picks are Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon. Yeah, love him. My kind of harder pick, Dragula by Rob Zombie. And now we get to talk about Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo. So Werewolves of London is just like such a classic Halloween song for me. Like it's creepy and spooky, and it's something that I grew up listening to, and I always loved it. Dragula, it has been used in so many horror movies for a very good reason. It's hard, it's dark, it's creepy, it's also Rob Zombie, who is like the nicest human being, one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my entire life. Just so sweet and down to earth. but that motherfucker is creepy as fuck. Like, I can't watch any of his movies. He is twisted and dark and wonderful, but I would much rather just like grab a tea with him than, go to his haunted houses, because I will just pee myself. And then Oingo Boingo, like Dead Man's Party, it's another bop. Like, you need to kind of space these out, and it's so much fun. Like, you can't not want to like Carlton to it almost. Like, it's so much fun. It's so great.
100%. Danny, what are your thoughts on these 3 picks?
I love these picks. I mean, those are classic picks for sure. The Werewolves in London, it does have that super creepy vibe that I genuinely enjoy. Dragula, that's a classic. Like, if you grew up in our age, like, there's no way that you could have missed that song at all. It didn't matter what genre of music you were into around that time. You know the song. And then Dead Man's Party, I just found out recently that it was in Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School movie.
Yeah. The band's in the movie. They play it.
Yeah, the band plays it.
So cool. Yeah, I love that. So I'm glad that you put that on your list also.
Cool. So I'm gonna go to Danny. What are your next 3 picks?
Alrighty. So
I didn't get to talk about those.
Tim,
so sorry about that. I forgot, Tim, and I didn't either.
I'll just say real quick. Werewolves of London is like one of my favorite karaoke songs. That song is great. I know it by heart. Like all the lyrics, it's fantastic. I love it. Dragula is amazing. I actually could have put there was like 2 or 3 Rob Zombie songs I could have put on my list, but I was like, someone's gonna put Rob Zombie on here, so I didn't put it on there. But I love Dragula. And then Dead Man's Party. I mean, that song's fantastic. Not only that, but like people know Danny Elfman as a composer now, but like Oingo Boingo is like they're a badass band. Like, they're really good. So you're not familiar with them. They actually have a lot of good songs, not just Dead Man's Party, but Dead Man's Party is a perfect Halloween song for sure.
Yeah, Danny was at the bottom of the screen. I had in my head that we were my bad. But yeah, Dragula, actually, I really love the chord progression in Dragula, especially when it gets into the Dragula part of it. It sounds really, really nice. Actually, honestly, I didn't really know of Dragula until I heard it on this playlist. I know it's probably been used in a lot of horror movies. I haven't watched a lot of them. I like going into them. I think I'm going to go into a lot of them blind going forward when we watch these on watch along. So I'm interested to what movies was Dragula used in?
Funny fact, actually, Dragula is used in the end credits for the movie Haunt.
Oh shoot!
But it's a cover. It's a really toned down, like acoustic, slow cover, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and Dead Man's Party is a bop. But I want to say Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London is a phenomenal choice. I'm glad you chose it, Rachel, because this is a choice that's kind of like classic rock. Honestly, Warren Zevon gets a bum rap. He doesn't really he's not really that well known besides this song and another great song, Lawyers, Guns, and Money. But he has a great collection of songs, and I encourage everybody to check out his discography if you can on Spotify. It's great. Danny, now it's your turn. What are your 3 picks?
Alrighty. So my next 3 is sorry.
It's all good.
So sorry.
Oh, Chris, one of the movies that Dragula's in, it's not a horror movie, but it's Airheads.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah, Rob Zombie's playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go, and when Chris Farley goes in to like talk to the girlfriend, they're playing Dragula, I believe, but it's Rob Zombie on stage.
Okay, so sorry. My next pick is Mommy's Little Monster by Social Distortion. That's just a really fun song. It's a good Halloween song to put on there. And then another Cramp song, Zombie Dance. Had to put that on there. That's a good one. And then, of course, for Bat for Lashes, What's a Girl to Do? This is just a really fun, slow vibe song that I really enjoyed. It's spooky, but it's got a vibe to it, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Before I go to you guys, PJ says in the chat that Dragula was apparently used in the Munsters. So that's interesting. I don't know where
not the song, but I think it's like written in with the Munsters, kind of like the idea of the Munsters, and like the whole the car he's driving is kind of like they basically like the vehicle, the family car was like a Dragula because it's like a dragster, but it's like a hearse dragster kind of thing, you know.
Yeah. Tim, well, what are your thoughts on her 3 picks?
These were fantastic. Social Distortion is one of my favorite punk bands, and another band that I love to like just sing all their songs and this is a great like horror themed song that they do. And then what was the next one? Oh yeah, the Cramps. I mean, the Cramps, like Danny said earlier, the Cramps are. I mean, it's what they do. Along with, and there's another band that might show up, but it's like all horror all the time, and like kind of like surf punk, and it's beautiful. And then I wasn't familiar with the other song, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, these picks are phenomenal, Danny. I just want to say that Mommy's Little Monster was a surprise to me. I really dug that one. I honestly wasn't too familiar with the Cramps because the Cramps are not really in my kind of wheelhouse of music, but I really dug that one. And what I'm listening to what's a girl to do, because I honestly I kind of didn't retain it, and it really is a really nice. So these three choices would be perfect for Halloween parties. Rachel, what are your thoughts on these three?
Well, Mike Ness is perfect in my eyes. So anything that's Social Distortion, it just makes my heart happy. He's also incredibly kind and wonderful. Cramps, like I said before, anything by them just instantly puts a smile on my face and like literally takes me back to like house parties in Huntington Beach with my best friend and like her housemates. It's just it's such a nostalgic thing for me that like no matter what song comes on, I'm like, yes, happy. And then the vocals on What's a Girl to Do, chilling, wonderful. Love
the vocals are chilling. Yeah,
it's just so good.
So
it's and a song that I hadn't heard before, so I'm super excited to like add that into my repertoire.
Yeah. All three of them I was ignorant of, so it was. I'm good that you were able to educate us with that stuff, Danny. That's what I love about music. It's not always about what you hear all the time on the radio. There's deep cuts and there's stuff that you don't really know, and if you explore, you will find music that will maybe be better than the stuff you've been listening to your entire life. It's magical. Okay, I'm gonna go into my next three picks, which are I took it literally with Halloween. The Devil Went Down to Georgia by Charlie Daniels Band, because it's about the devil seducing somebody with a fiddle, and Satan is a very scary monster, and it's just a very, very evil, and the instrumentation of all the violins just sound very haunting, and you guys all heard that song. It's a classic. My next one after that would be the Oogie Boogie song from Nightmare Before Christmas. I've always dug this song as a kid, and I think Ken Page kills it as Oogie Boogie, and I feel like since Rachel chose that This Is Halloween, I said, you know what, instead of This Is Halloween, I'm going to do the villain song, and I gave it to Oogie. And then the next one, I don't know if you guys ever saw this movie or heard this song, but it's called Shock Treatment. It's the title track of the sequel to Rocky Horror, Shock Treatment, sung by the same people who sung Time Warp, Richard O'Brien, Patricia O'Neill, and Little Nell. And I feel like it's a very fun song. It's about them experimenting on their patients. You need a little shock treatment, and it's really catchy, and nobody's really heard it because that sequel was obsolete and nobody hears about it nowadays, but it's a fun track. Rachel, I'm gonna go to you. What are your thoughts on these three songs? If you've ever seen Shock Treatment, I don't know.
I believe so. I think it was I think we were doing like a movie marathon in the background at one of our Broadway Halloween shows. And so like I think that was, I caught glimpses of it. I loved it. I mean, it's ridiculous and stupid and funny and wonderful. Devil Went Down to Georgia is actually a karaoke song that I used to do before I started just admitting that no one can sing at karaoke, so it doesn't matter if I can't sing. But I know all of the words Devil Went Down to Georgia. I can speed rap it like nobody's business. I love that song. The Oogie Boogie song, Oogie used to scare the living daylights out of me as a child. Like I could not watch that part of the movie because I was like, nope, can't do it. Just the thought of like unraveling, just can't even talk about it to this day. But I love that song. It's very it's very like Poor Unfortunate Souls-ish, just this buxom large creature just being sassy and soulful, and it's such a great song to just like sing around and while you clean. It's fun.
That would be great to hear Ursula and Oogie duet on Oogie Boogie's song. That would be great. Disney, do it. I didn't even think about that.
Give it to me.
Tim, what are your thoughts on these three songs?
I'm a diehard like Rocky Horror fan, but I've actually never seen Shock Treatment. I've listened to some of the tracks, and Shock Treatment is like one of the tracks that I know. I mean, I'm just a sucker for Richard O'Brien's like voice. I love it. And this song is really, really catchy and just fun to listen to. Devil Went Down to Georgia. I used to be like obsessed with this song, like back in like high school and like early college. And like Rachel, I it's been a couple years since I've listened to it, and when I listened to it on this playlist, I still found that I knew like all the lyrics, no problem, like everything. And you know, rest in peace, Charlie Daniels. You know, he just passed away recently, but you know, great jam, man, and great fiddle playing in that song. And then Oogie Boogie's theme. I mean, like I said earlier, anything from Nightmare Before Christmas kind of fits in both holidays. But this song is particularly good for Halloween because it is a fun track. And like you said, Ken Page, is that his name?
Yeah, Ken Page.
Yeah,
I used to think that Oogie Boogie was the same voice as Audrey too, because they kind of had that same quality.
Yeah, they have that like Motown kind of voice. Ken Page was the voice of the alligator in All Dogs Go to Heaven, if anyone didn't know that. He sings that song as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Danny, what are your thoughts on these three songs?
These songs are great. The Oogie Boogie song is so much fun. That is a very terrifying moment whenever he unravels himself. Oh my goodness, it is terrifying. But this is a fun song to sing. Like if you're just like walking around the house, it's just a fun song to belt out. The Devil Went Down to Georgia is just a classic song. I agree with everything that you all said. I probably would not want to challenge anyone in a contest for who knows all of the words to
It's a mouthful.
But I definitely enjoy. You can't not enjoy that song. That's a great song. So definitely. And I had never heard of Shock Treatment before. And I know that you all did a Suddenly soundtracks on Shock Treatment. And I was watching a little bit of that earlier. And then because I listened to this song and I loved this song. This was so catchy and so much fun. And it makes me want to go and just listen to the whole soundtrack. So.
The movie doesn't make much sense, but the soundtrack is great. There's a bunch of catchy songs. But I will admit that no song really captures any song or supersedes any song on Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror is just a classic through and through. So yeah, I'm gonna go to you, Tim. You're up next for your next three.
Next three?
Your penultimate three, and then your number one is after.
All right, we have Killer Clowns by the Dickies. Then we have, there's a lot of punk rock representation on my list. We have Hybrid Moments by the Misfits. And this is another one of my small indie band picks. This is Zombie Harem by the band Daikaiju. So Killer Clowns, I mean, just a great fun song about, you know, and a really fun movie. And it's the guitar riffs that they use have a very like circus feel to them, which is fun. But yeah, just a great band, a great song by a crappy punk band. But a lot of punk bands are crappy and we still love them. That's kind of like the whole like thing about early punk, especially. Misfits are one of my favorite bands, and Hybrid Moments is probably my favorite song by the Misfits. So yeah, and I mean, you can literally put any Misfits song like the Cramps on a Halloween playlist because they are all about scary stuff. So that's their thing. And then Zombie Harem, I don't know if everyone got a chance to listen to this, but this song,
I did.
Daikaiju is like one of my favorite bands ever, and nobody like knows of them because they're super, super small. But like they're literally the best band I've ever seen perform live. Like they are absolutely incredible, and they're all instrumental. There's no lyrics, but they're like a surf. Like if someone took surf music and played it faster, like and like thrash and like punk rock, and that's what they are. And their performances live are absolutely incredible. This song is amazing. It has this really cool bridge part where it's like kind of going on, and then it cuts back, then it goes back, and it leads back into like the main like riffs. And that part always just gets me super hyped. And then that's the title. I mean, since there's no lyrics, it's not like spooky, but like the song, the title Zombie Harem, it always makes me think of Halloween. And all their songs are about like sci-fi, like Japanese kaiju things. So yeah, they're a great band. If anyone, I would recommend checking out their entire thing. They have a couple albums. They're incredible. They're from Arkansas. Nobody knows about them, but they are amazing.
Yeah, I want to just say that the the Daikatsu thing that you said, their instrumentation's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and
Holy
then seeing them
shit.
live, it's absolutely it's even crazier.
And they can do that live.
And they do all kinds of crazy antics. The last time I saw them live, we literally, for one of the songs, they were playing in the back of this bar, and they don't talk because they only communicate through like hand signals because it's like part of their gimmick. They don't talk at all, and they all wear like these Japanese style like masks. But basically, they had the audience pick everyone up in the band, including all their instruments. So like people picked up the drummer in his seat, picked up his drums, and then we had to progress while they were playing a song. So they're still playing a song in air, and then we moved them from the back of the bar to the front of the bar by the door while they played a track. And then while they were up there, they doused the drum kit with lighter fluid and like lit everything on fire, and it was absolutely insane. Every time I've seen it, I've seen them like 5 times. Every time I've seen them, they step up the craziness.
What the fuck?
And they're crazy good.
How are they not like a Super Bowl mid-time show? Damn.
Yeah, because no, I mean it's all instrumental. Instrumental is kind of a weird thing. Like people like have hearing music and singing songs, and like so instrumental stuff is a little different, but it's great. Yeah. They're awesome.
And obviously, the Killer Clowns thing is a bop. It's really hard to capture that circus sound, and it does it phenomenally. How hard was it to pick your Misfits song?
It wasn't super hard because this is like a song I would say this is it's definitely probably my favorite song. So this was the first song I went to. The only other one I thought about throwing on there was Astro Zombies, which is another song I like a lot. But there's so many Misfits songs I love, but it was pretty easy to go with Hybrid Moments just because I feel like this has just got a good horror vibe to it.
Yeah, it does.
If you're going to scream with me.
Indeed. Danny, what are your thoughts on his 3 picks?
I love these picks. This is such a good pick. So I had never heard the Killer Clowns song. I've never seen the movie. I'm terrified of clowns, so I haven't seen the movie. But I loved that song. That song truly is a bop. Absolutely. Hybrid Moments for sure. Everything you said is spot on about it. You need that on a Halloween playlist, I think. And same thing. Misfits are just like the Cramps, like you said. You can put almost any song on a Halloween playlist and it'll work out just fine. I didn't get a chance to listen to Zombie Harem, but now I am absolutely intrigued.
Oh, it's a great instrumental.
I'm gonna have to listen to that and get into it because the way that if they run their shows like that, that's got to be a good time. So I'm down for it.
Rachel.
I literally put on Zombie Harem and I'm like, this is like speed metal meets like rock opera with no vocals, and I'm digging it. It's so good. Obviously the Misfits, of course, I'm gonna be super excited to see that on any playlist, especially a Halloween one. And then Killer Clowns, I'm with Danny. Clowns scared the bejesus out of me. But I love that song, so it's just good fun.
It's all good fun. All right, Rachel, I'm gonna go to you next since we did Tim. What are your next 3?
So my next 3, I know that there's like multiple versions of this song that are probably somebody else is gonna probably say it, but I Put a Spell on You by the Clovers specifically. Like I know that there are like 1,000 other versions, but for some reason I really love this one by the Clovers. It's just so good and so much fun. And then Mike K, you're ruining some of my favorite things because my next one is one of the most amazing and fun songs. It's A Little Piece of Heaven by Avenged Sevenfold, and they are phenomenal. I'll talk a little bit about them. And then my other Alice Cooper for Halloween is Feed My Frankenstein. Now, if you haven't, I highly recommend watching the music video for A Little Piece of Heaven. It's this super creepy song about this guy whose girlfriend dies and he brings her back to life, and then she kills him and brings him back to life. So they're zombies together, and it's really sweet and really fucking creepy at the same time. But I love Avenged Sevenfold. They're the nicest guys in the world, really good for drinks, and just they write some of the funnest songs. They're also kind of touching and heartfelt at the same time. And everybody knows, like, I Put a Spell on You. It's just, you hear that like dun, 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 and everybody is like in and super just having the best time. It doesn't matter which version you hear, but this one with like the low voice, it's so creepy.
Yes.
It brings me like Dr. Facilier vibes from Princess and the Frog. It's got that very like voodoo man type. It's so great, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Danny, what are your thoughts on these 3 songs?
Yeah, so I didn't know if I should have punted I Put a Spell on You or not, because I also picked that song, but I picked a different version of that song. Yes. So I'll wait to talk about that song then, because that's just a classic Halloween song. I'm sorry. No matter
the Clover's
what.
version is great though.
Yeah, the Hocus Pocus version is arguably one of the best ones, but
it's not even released on a soundtrack. It's like so weird. I guess it's some sort of rights issues, but fun fact, Bette Midler's version of I Put a Spell on You is not on Spotify, and it's not available anywhere, so it's weird.
Very sad. Yes. A Little Piece of Heaven. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I didn't get into Avenged Sevenfold. But I have a friend who's like obsessed with them and has always asked me to start listening to them, and I just never got around to it. But Feed Me Frankenstein by Alice Cooper. I listened to the song for the first time today, and I was listening to it, and I had to go and read the lyrics to it. And as soon as I read the lyrics to it, I was like, Alice Cooper! Okay! All right. So Feed Me Frankenstein is now officially going to forever be on a Halloween playlist for me, because that is such a fun song. I absolutely loved that song from top to bottom. Loved it. Those are great songs.
Yeah, your choice for Alice Cooper is a bop, and I love also the lyrics too, and the Clover's version is amazing. I couldn't find the Clover's version on Spotify, and I couldn't add it to the Spotify playlist, but it is great if you can track it down on YouTube. It's great. A Little Piece of Heaven, I'm listening to it now. It's a great song. I didn't retain it when I was listening through the soundtrack. Apologies, but it's still a phenomenal choice, Rachel, and I'm glad you put it on the list, because again, like me and probably like other people, that song we've never heard of, so it's good to have that representation for people who need to like know these new songs, and I'm glad that you introduced that. Tim, what are your thoughts on these 3?
Yeah, I mean, I Put a Spell on You. I mean, it's a classic song, really, for Halloween, for any version. This version is really good. I do like the Bette Midler version the most, but that's just because of like growing up and watching Hocus Pocus. But the song overall is fantastic. A Little Piece of Heaven. I'm a big Avenged Sevenfold fan, actually, so I like this song. I've actually never seen the music video, so I need to go watch it. But this song makes me think it's like if Avenged Sevenfold made a song and like Tim Burton was like part of it. It's got like this whole like kind of like weird instrumentals that sound very like Danny Elfman-ish and like that are going on as well. But yeah, Avenged Sevenfold's great. I mean, Sin is like one of the best like guitarists of the last 20 years. He's incredible. And then Feed My Frankenstein is just great. I mean, Alice Cooper, and that song always makes me think of Wayne's World, but I do love it. I mean, any Alice Cooper song is also very like horror themed as well.
It's in Wayne's World, you said, right?
Yeah,
this is the song.
I figured.
As soon as they cut to them at the concert, it's this song.
It's that song.
It's what they open their set with. And he busts through the skeleton sternum. Yeah.
Oh, that's
great fix overall.
But fun fact, Alice is incredibly small and very quiet in person. He is not he is not Alice Cooper.
Well, just like he is in the movie Wayne's World, when he's like, what I find interesting about Milwaukee is it's the only city to elect 3 socialist mayors. I know how to party or what?
Cool. Danny, your next 3 songs.
All right, my next 3 songs. All right, I had to put a classic on here. Of course, this is going to be on most people's playlists. I don't know if this has to get punted or not.
Punt.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And then I have Dead Man's Bones, My Body's a Zombie for You. This is a fun song. This is definitely a fun song to chant along to. There's a good little like chant down at the end. So if you got a party, everyone's already feeling nice and toasty, the song comes on, there's definitely this chance to get everyone in the party hyped up and involved with chanting along to the end of the song. It's so great. And then I had a very tough time deciding which one would be my number 1. But for my not number 1, I went with Santana Black Magic Woman. I love
God, it's so good.
I love this song. It's so good. Like it's not necessarily a Halloween song. It's not super scary or anything like that. It's Santana. Like I feel like I really don't have to say more. But it's a beautiful song. It's got really great riffs, and I love that title. It's a fun title too. But it's a really great song. So I had to put that on there.
And Santana has a great instrumental thing called Soul Sacrifice, which I've always been a fan of.
Oh God, I'm glad you brought that up because I was segue. Soul Sacrifice, the live recording at Woodstock, is one of the best recordings of any music, and that is hands down the best drum solo ever in the history of drum solos by Michael Shreve. I mean, he was probably like on lots of drugs, but like that makes sense. I mean, that if you've never seen it, you need to watch the full Soul Sacrifice video from Woodstock because it's like 10 minutes long. It's great. It's great. Sorry. I just had to segue that because you mentioned it.
No, yeah. I was also going to say that Thriller is a classic. I actually don't remember listening to that one. I forget it. I will actually give my thoughts on that in 1 second. But Tim, as I do that, what are your thoughts on these 3 songs?
I mean, Thriller is that I didn't put it on my list because I knew it was going to be on like one or even everyone's list, and it sounds like it was. I mean, here it is. It's definitely here. I mean, rightly so. It's a great. It's like one of the pinnacle of like Halloween songs on every Halloween playlist because again, it's important to dance at a party. So you got to dance. And Thriller. Thriller is like a dance song. I don't know the dance moves, but I know lots of people that do. And then Black Magic Woman is incredible. Santana is great. That song is amazing. But I want to talk about this other song because this song is fucking awesome. This is my favorite song of the entire playlist. I'm listening to it now, and it's even over my songs probably. Like I freaking love this song, and I've listened to it so many times since Chris sent us this whole playlist. I didn't know anything about it, so thank you. This song is great, and I love it. And yeah, I feel like it'd be a good song to do drugs with too, but I don't really do a lot of drugs, but maybe.
Yeah, I feel really bad that I forgot about this because this is, oh my God, 1 second. This is great. I'm going to just save this really quickly. Give me 1 second. All right, yeah, that's awesome. Sorry about that. This is live, folks. Rachel, what are your thoughts on these 3 tracks?
Well, obviously we're going to talk about Thriller in a second. Yeah. I literally just put on My Body's a Zombie for You in the background again because it's one of those songs that you get a little drunk to, you're at a concert, and it comes time and this song starts playing and just instinctively you just put your arms around whoever is next to you and just start swaying and singing at the top of your lungs, screaming into somebody's face because they're doing the same to you. And it's just so much fun. And it's just it's got this kind of like almost creepy,
thanks, Brandy.
More serious version of like the Lumineers sound to it. Without it being so fucking hipster. But I absolutely love this song. And then, sorry, what was the last one? Santana. Okay, first of all,
Black Magic Woman is,
any time that Santana holds, or even just looks at a guitar, I swear to God, the man just has powers and just like takes over your mind. He's like this mystical bard that can just piper you into doing whatever he wants you to do, but it's always with a great guitar riff and you're swaying your hips before you even realize what the song is. And he's just to me, that's creepy. To have that power over somebody, that's a lot of responsibility. But Santana is just you need to add a little sex into the scary guys, and that's Santana is what you do. That's what it is.
110%. These were great picks, Danny. I'm gonna go into my 3 before my final one. Coming in right here is a movie I introduced Rachel to, and I figured the best. I was in between 2 songs. It was either Life at Last or The Hell of It, and I chose Paul Williams' version. The Hell of It is perfect for a Halloween party. You have if you have never seen Phantom of the Paradise, I can't stress enough how great and eclectic the damn musical is. It's a commentary on the music industry. Check it out if you can. It's not as accessible as it should be, but if you can, you can rent it on YouTube and Amazon Prime and stuff. But you can, it's a really fun track, and Paul Williams kills it. Coming in next is I don't know how surprising this is, but Leah Deloria played Eddie and Dr. Scott in the 2000 version of Rocky Horror, and her version of Eddie's Teddy on top of her lesbian version of Hot Patootie are some of the best vocals I've heard of. And I think her version of Eddie's Teddy is better than the movie version, and she's on par with Meat as doing Hot Patootie for hers. But I chose Eddie's Teddy just because her voice is so good, and I just love this version of Eddie's Teddy so much, and it's jazzy, and she just belts it out, and it's so freaking awesome. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but I'm gonna go into the next one, which is, I mentioned him, Meatloaf. This I could have chosen a lot of Meatloaf songs for a Halloween playlist. I chose "Don't Leave Your Mark on Me," which is essentially about a ghost hunter going into a house and being haunted by all these demons and not knowing where to go and how to escape the house. It's a pretty haunting song with the ghost chasing Meat and everything. I really dig this song. It's off of a record that people have never heard of called Bad Attitude, but I felt like this was a good obscure pick instead of doing Bad Outta Hell, which would have been kind of obvious. So these are my 3 picks. So Rachel, what are your thoughts on these 3?
I mean, guys, if you need a hit of Phantom of the Paradise, DM me on Twitter. We'll make sure you get to see it because it is that important of a musical. We did that show and I have not stopped loving it. It is just.
I'm so glad I introduced you to that. That's so
I am too. I'm so happy.
I'm so surprised you never saw it. It's great.
I know. It's just something I missed. And then Eddie's Teddy is, of course, you have to have a Rocky Horror song in here, and I love Eddie's Teddy, and this version is like sexy and like really fun and jazzy, like you said. And then Don't Leave Your Mark on Me. As soon as I saw this, I was like, this is Chris's pick, because it's Meatloaf, and it's, of course, yeah. I mean, I always think of what's the douche ghost hunter that's on like Discovery or whatever, Zach something. I always think of him when I hear this song now. But it's Meatloaf, and you can't hate on the meat.
Yeah, it's awesome. Danny, what are your thoughts on these 3?
These were fun. So I have never heard of the show that you all are talking about. I feel really bad about that, but her voice on this track is so good. Like her voice just sounds amazing. And then the hell of it, Eddie's Teddy, that's always a fun song. And this cover of it, it's a cover, right?
Eddie's Teddy, it's a cover. It's from the 2000 Casper version. Yeah.
Okay, that's, I don't know why I might be confusing it with something else now, but I really enjoyed the song. It was a great song, and then I absolutely knew that the Meatloaf song was going to be Chris. Chris, I would love to see your Meatloaf cover band for sure. Like,
yeah,
that would be a lot of
this
fun.
song would be different. Yeah, this song will be difficult though because of the echoing. You can't really do that live, so this song wouldn't be a part of it. But yeah, my band also does sometimes Soul Sacrifice as an intro, believe it or not. Yeah, Tim, what are your thoughts?
I actually haven't ever seen Phantom of the Paradise, but I do need to check it out based on like the episode of Suddenly Soundtracks you did on it and everything, and I don't know why, but I definitely have heard this song before, and it's really good. I like it a lot. It's super catchy. Eddie's Teddy is one of my favorite songs from Rocky Horror, and I actually never heard this version of it either, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a really interesting, different take on it, which I liked a lot. I actually might like it more than the movie.
I do too. The movie version is kind of but yeah. Yeah.
And then, I mean, I knew you were going to pick a Meatloaf song, and I had faith that you weren't going to pick like a go-to cliche kind of one. I've never heard this song, but it was great. The thing I love about Meatloaf is like he's like a storyteller and takes you on like a journey, and his vocals are second to none. So, and
you can tell through the lyrics of the song that he's hunting a ghost that's following him through hallways. So it's interesting. I wouldn't call it one of my favorite Meatloaf songs of all time, but I think it's good for the theme of this particular playlist. So before I go into our final ones, Maxwell could not make it tonight. Sadly, he just wasn't feeling too well, but he will be back on the channel tomorrow for Sleepy Hollow. I mean on Friday for Sleepy Hollow. But I'm gonna go through his 10 picks before we go into our number ones, if you guys are good with that. All right. So cool. Max chose Creep, I can't read that. The
Postmodern jukebox.
postmodern jukebox.
Good.
Yeah. All right, and
Which was great, yeah.
his next pick is "Scary Monsters" by David Bowie, which is a phenomenal
Classic. Bowie.
His next pick was "Time Warp" by Rocky Horror. These are not also in his order, so I don't know what his order would have been.
Yeah.
But these are just his picks. "Nightmare on My Street."
That song is great.
That is a great song.
And it cleverly uses the the main theme from Nightmare on Elm Street, which is great.
It really is.
Yeah.
I misread it as "Nightmare on Elm Street" first. I'm like, oh, he put the theme in. Then I listened to it. I'm like, oh shit, that's really good. "Bury a Friend" by Then he has "A Little Ghost." Red Right Hand. Dragula. He had Dragula too. Then he has "Psycho Killers." And then he had
That was great.
"A Zombie" by the Cranberries. He would have probably punted that had he been on call with us.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any thing to say about? It's a shame he can't talk about his music because I would like to know why he picked what he picked. But those are his picks, and I think they're all pretty solid. Anybody have any thoughts, Tim?
I mean, they're all solid picks. I hadn't heard of. I'm not a huge Billie Eilish person, so but I did enjoy this song. It was good.
Feel better.
But yeah, I love this version of "Creep" that's on here. It's really, really good. That song is already like it says, creepy. So, but I think this version of it is. I think I like this version better than the Radiohead version. Actually.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I don't know if that's bad, but I do. "Red Right Hand" is a classic, kind of scary themed song, and then, I mean, "Psycho Killers," the Talking Heads are incredible, and that song is great. So,
yeah. Rachel, anything stick out to you from Max's list?
There are so many classics that it's of course there's "Time Warp." That was one that I pushed off because I'm like, of course somebody has to have that. I love that he put Bowie on here. Should not be surprised. "Red Right Hand," just as soon as I hear that, it literally just gets me in the mood to hunker down into the couch with a blanket and some spiced cider and watch Scream over and over and over again because I love that movie. "Psycho Killers," such a great song. Obviously, I love Dragula. Obviously, I love Zombie. And then the Postmodern Jukebox version of "Creep." First of all, I just love Postmodern Jukebox. People should just be listening to them no matter what. But this version is very, very, very good.
Yeah, Max, if you were watching this or you see this, the chat is also supporting you. They love your picks. I'm really happy you guys in the chat are giving support to Max. He isn't feeling well right now, but he will be back on Friday. Danny, what are your thoughts on Max's picks before we continue?
Yeah, these are great picks. The "Nightmare on My Street" is such a fun song. Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, what a great duo. They're so good. And I love the way that it plays up on "Nightmare on Elm Street," like what Tim was saying earlier. These are really great picks and a lot of fun songs. I hadn't "Time Warp." You absolutely have to have "Time Warp" on a Halloween playlist. I will walk out of a party if someone tells me that they're not going to have any Rocky Horror music on a Halloween playlist. So absolutely leave. I'm pretty sure I can't remember which one was on here that I hadn't heard before. I'm trying to think of it. But anyway, I really enjoyed hearing these songs as well. Everything everyone else said. Sorry.
I hear music in the background by somebody. Is there any music playing? Oh,
Okay,
it's all cool. It's all cool. Wait, Tim, I'm gonna go to you for your number one. What is your number one pick?
My number one pick is another punk song. Go figure.
Good.
And it is "Pet Cemetery" by the Ramones, the title track from the 1989 Stephen King film about resurrected animals and people because they get buried in a sacred burial ground. But anyways, this song is great. It just kind of lays out the whole concept of the movie with the fun style of the Ramones. It's one of my favorite Ramones songs, actually. I think it's kind of underrated in my opinion, but I think it's super fun.
Oh, it's
singing about goblins and ghouls and how you don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. You don't want to live your life again.
It's perfection. The original Pet Sematary is one of the most haunting things ever. It really holds up even to this day, even with the remake. Rachel, what are your thoughts on Pet Sematary, the song?
I mean, the Ramones are near and dear to my heart. I know the guy who designed the Ramones seal, and so like they're just so integral to punk history. So I've been listening to them for forever and ever. Amen. The song is so great. It's just such a crunchy, punky, just ballad, and it's you can't love the Ramones enough.
Nope. Danny, what are your thoughts on Tim's top pick?
Yeah, I feel like this is such a Tim top pick. Anytime I saw any movie referenced, horror movie referenced in the playlist, I immediately thought this has to be a Tim pick.
It's a Tim.
So this definitely is a good number one for Tim. I think that fits. And it's the Ramones. You can't go wrong with the Ramones, honestly. Like what Rachel said, integral to punk history and the development of the music genre and stuff like that. So gotta have the Ramones on here. I absolutely love Tim's whole playlist. Like that is a really awesome Halloween playlist right there. It's so good.
Yeah. Wait, Rachel, what's your number one pick?
So my number one should surprise nobody, but it is Thriller. I knew that this was going to be on another list, but I did not care because I was like, well, it's Thriller, so of course. It was one of the first music videos I ever saw that was so theatrical and told a story, and there was costumes and dance breaks and like professional dancers and and then you come to find out that like I realized, oh, it's Vincent Price is in a Michael Jackson music video. That's insane. And then you find out who produced it. Wasn't Francis Ford Coppola.
It was somebody big.
It was somebody big that was involved in the creation of Thriller, and it was like an event. I remember when it came out on MTV.
Was it John Landis? It might have been John Landis. I don't know.
Somebody look that up and drop it in the chat.
It is John Landis. It's John Landis.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
But it's just like it's so important. And it's again one of those songs that I'm like, wait, you're not playing Thriller at this party? Like you're an asshole. Like everybody loves Thriller. Just let it play. But it's my favorite. Had at it.
Thriller is a classic, and I mean that 10-minute music video where they actually go through a story and it's like a zombie film is phenomenal. And I think this is one of the upper echelon of Michael Jackson's songs. Yeah, it's probably his biggest song, but again, a lot of his he doesn't have many deep cuts because a lot of the stuff that he released was automatically a hit. It's kind of like the Beatles, and I feel like Michael was phenomenal. We lost him way too soon, and Thriller is just a classic through and through. You know the dance, you can dance, and this is probably one that you've heard at every single Halloween party you've been to.
And it gave us the red leather jacket. Like, let's just be honest. It's the red leather jacket, the white shirt, the black pants, and the silver sparkly glove. Like, everyone knows this look. It is so iconic.
Oh, and Max said in the chat, thank you for all the kind words we said. So
we love you, babe.
We hope you're better, Max. We all love you. Tim, I'm just gonna go to you. What are your thoughts on Thriller?
I mean, I guess I spoke too soon about it, but yeah, it's a great song. It's like the Halloween song, and it's like the Halloween dance song. So it's perfect for any kind of like Halloween party or party in general. But yeah, the music video is iconic. I'm not going to talk about John Landis because I don't like the guy, but it's a great music video. And it's very awkward to talk about him. Danny, what are your thoughts on Thriller?
I love this song. Absolutely. It is definitely one of those classic Halloween songs you have to put on your list. I think it's hilarious that where my Thriller is and where the corresponding song on Rachel's spot is and where her list and what my song is going to be. It's so good. But, growing up, like Thriller was just always around. So my mom actually had this album like on vinyl. So I've been listening to this whole album for as long as I can remember. Even before I really realized like what type of an icon this song is or how iconic this song is. But it's great. Everything that Rachel said about it is absolutely true. And also being in the dance community, there's no way that you can't survive life without actually knowing this dance. I know that there are plenty of people who don't know this dance, but you can't if you're a cheerleader, a dancer, any sort of that, you have to know this dance. It's required. It's a requirement. So
we will take your pom-poms away.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. You can't. It's 100% true. It's your initiation. That's how you get into squads. But yeah, absolutely had to put Thriller on there.
So
it's sad because it's true.
So true. Danny, I'm going to give you the honors to actually put the last song on the playlist, since this is your first Suddenly soundtrack. So I'm going to go next. My number one pick is something I grew up with, and I loved it. I've always loved this song. My dad loved this song, and my dad loved this movie. It's Casper the Friendly Ghost by Little Richard. I know. But I love Casper, and I love when I was a young kid, I used to be able to name every single vacuum and the brand because of the scene at the vacuum when he sucks up fat. So this is a random segue. But Casper's a great film. I love Casper as a kid. We're gonna probably do it for Scary Movie Squad next year. Casper, this version of Casper the Friendly Ghost, there's not many of them, rocks. It's a Little Richard Good Golly Miss Molly version of fucking Casper the Friendly Ghost, mixed with Tutti Frutti, mixed with sax solos. It's 1950s rock, and it's perfect. I love it. I just love it. I don't know if you guys I just love this version of Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's stupid. I don't know why. Tim, what are your thoughts on Casper Little Richard?
I mean, no, it takes a song and makes it super fun. I mean, it's not boring at all. How could you be boring with Little Richard? So, I mean, the guy knows how to rock. The guy's, it's a lot of fun.
It's good.
And the movie's great. The movie's a classic, and I think it's perfect for a Halloween playlist for sure.
Yeah,
so I think it's a great pick.
Yeah.
I love this song. Anything with Little Richard, is I don't care what mood you're in. If you hear Little Richard anything, you're instantly within a good 3 seconds on your feet and at least smiling and starting to dance. This also just I know Danny is of the same age, so when you hear Casper, most girls can think of is, "Can I keep you?" And Devon Sawa and our deep love for one of our first crushes of all time. And it's just, between that and Now and Then, just love you. Just take my little 12-year-old heart and be kind. But this song is so much. What?
And Little Richard recently died too, which is.
I know, is. I mean, the Queen is passed, but she's amazing. Oh my God, and his capes, and he's just it's so much. It's so joyful. It's so almost anti-Halloween.
Yeah,
but it's so sweet. It's you hear the song and you're like, what? Who put this song on? And 5 seconds later, you're like, Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Just having so much fun. It's great.
It's great. Danny, what are your thoughts on Little Richard's little ditty?
I love this song so much. I love this movie so much. Exactly what Rachel was saying, because honestly, Devon Sawa and Christina Ricci were probably genuinely my first crushes ever. So, and especially Now and Then, seeing them in Now and Then after Casper, I was like, oh no, this is a whole different level of love. So that movie means a lot to me. So this song is so much fun, and it plays at the end credits of this movie, and it just makes it so much fun because you just watch the whole story. It's a great movie, and then you get to this really fun, fantastical song, and you just have a blast going out with it. And I'm so glad that you put this on the playlist because it's definitely deserves to be there.
It gets overlooked, but I just loved it. So Danny, last and certainly not least, what is your final submission for our playlist of Halloween?
Alrighty, so it is I Put a Spell on You, but it is the Screamin' Jay Hawkins version of I Put a Spell on You. It's so good. I instantly knew that I wanted to pick this song, and I didn't. The Bette Midler version is always my go-to for this song. I love Bette Midler. I'm obsessed with Bette Midler. Beaches is my all-time favorite movie. But I had to go with this version of the song because of the way that he sings this song. He screams this song, and it's just in a low, scary voice, and he has this little maniacal laugh inside of it that is just perfect as a Halloween song, and it gives you like these voodoo vibes, like basically the same thing that Rachel was saying about her version of the song, because those are the genuine vibes that you get from this song. So I think whenever you're trying to pick a version of this song that you like, it's whose voice kind of sings to you at that moment when you hear the song. And Screamin' Jay Hawkins, this version of the song has always stuck with me. I absolutely love this version of this song, and I will put this on any playlist, not even just a Halloween playlist. I'll put this on any playlist.
An absolute classic through and through. I'm glad that we ended with I put a spell on you, because this is perfect, because this version, I mean, a lot of people grew up obviously with the Bette Midler version, and sadly it's not accessible, but this version supersedes. It's just it's a classic through and through. Tim, what are your thoughts on Put a Spell on You?
Yeah, I like pretty much any version. I don't think I've heard a version of the song I don't like. With that, I think this version is probably my second favorite version, because I just really like Screamin' Jay Hawkins' vocals, like Danny said, a lot. They really speak to me, and yeah, I mean, I think it's a perfect Halloween song, and I think either version is a perfect song to be on this playlist. I'm glad we have two versions of it on it.
Mm-hmm. And we're probably going to have a couple of versions when we do holiday party playlists too. So I mean, I was not surprised by that whatsoever. Rachel, what are your thoughts on this alternate version of Put a Spell on You besides the Clovers?
I mean, it was a toss up between this and the Clovers. I just like, there is something really like, this is one of those songs that I was like, well, it's going to show up because it has to. It's just that sultry, like I want to put on my slinkiest dress and just slink around the apartment. Like,
it's
you
a
just
song that makes you want to do.
This is a song that you want to do like the sexiest striptease to. Like, it is so. Sorry, I froze. But it's just like you want to put on that slinky dress and like wander around, and like, this is something that, like, I don't care who you are, if you hear this song, you kind of want to give somebody a lap dance. Like, it's just you just start snaking by yourself. Like, you can be with 1,000 people or by yourself, and it's still just, it gets to you. It's so primal and like, yeah.
Awesome. Girl. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm going to tweet out the playlist link after we're done streaming tonight, and everybody can retweet it, and this will be our final list, our playlist. Look at that, guys. Wow. It's a lot of great kick-ass songs. So we curated a playlist, and these are our choices. So I'm going to go through to everybody. What are your final thoughts? Do you have any final thoughts on these particular songs that are added? So, Danny, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts on the playlist and how it is, and any particular thing?
I absolutely love this playlist. Yeah. I think the fun thing about this panel is that we all really truly do have similar music tastes. So this is definitely a playlist that I absolutely am keeping this playlist and using it in a Halloween party. There's a lot of really fun bops in there. There's songs that I had never heard of before that I genuinely love. I'm so glad that I found a new band to listen to out of this playlist. But this is overall a great playlist, great people picking some great songs, and I absolutely adore this list.
Awesome, you guys did. I'm proud of the job we've done. Rachel, what are your thoughts on the playlist as a whole?
It's so much fun. It spans I agree. I mean, we're all just about in the same age range. Like, we all grew up listening to kind of the same music, but it's just like it's all very familiar to me. I love that it's like, I'm so excited to go listen to these new bands from Tim. And like, it's fun being reminded of songs that I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have maybe put this on my list, but it's a really good song and it fits. Can we do honorable mentions, or are we gonna do that later?
Oh, I'm gonna do that next after I
cool.
Get everything.
But I love how I love how there's musicals and like punk rock and, you know, Japanese speed metal, sci-fi weirdness, instrumentals, and pop and punk. Like, it's so great, and it's such a beautiful mix.
Tim, your thoughts on the final playlist?
I mean, I've listened to this playlist a couple times through it, all the way through, and there's not a single song on here that I would skip. I listen to it all the way through because I enjoy every single song. There's a bunch of songs that I hadn't heard before that I now love. Big shout out to My Body's a Zombie for You. That song Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love that song. But yeah, this is a great list. I'm excited for people to check it out. Let us know what you think about it, in the socials, in the tweets, and yeah, it's fun. It's great.
Also, be sure to check out our Streamlabs. That it's all up there, and this is streaming on my Twitch. For Suddenly Soundtrack is going on my Twitch. So if you can give me a follow, that'd be great as well. Because we're going to be doing Suddenly Soundtracks on Twitch over there. So I'm going to go through everybody. I'm going to ask you for your sign-offs, but first and foremost, I would like to know what songs you were going to put on your honorable mentions. So I'm going to go back to Danny. Danny, what are your honorable mentions, and where can the good people find you online?
My honorable mention is AFI Halloween. I'm very disappointed in myself for not putting any AFI on this list. So I'm sad about that, but definitely that. And you can find me on Twitter at DannyJoy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me on the Call to Action Network. On the YouTube, search for Call to Action. I do a show there every Sunday with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denuzio, called Chill to Action, where we hang out with Schmodown professionals, if you're familiar with the Schmodown, and just hang out and chill. Rachel and Tim have been on there. So go and check out their episodes for sure. Get to know them a little bit better. And Chris, I think I'd love to have you on the show sometime.
If you need to, yeah. So,
yes,
cool.
absolutely.
So Rachel, when can what are your honorable mentions, and where can the good people find you?
So my honorable mentions are Little Red Riding Hood by Sam the Sham. It's just kind of creepy. I mean, I know Little Red Riding Hood is not necessarily a horror or Halloween theme, but like she's getting stalked by a wolf in a wood. Like that's creepy.
It counts.
Attack of the Puppet People by a band from Seattle called Schoolyard Heroes. Pretty much all of their stuff is just kind of creepy, punky, speed rockabilly. It's a blast. I love them so much. And anything by Ice Nine Kills. Spencer, lead singer, is a good friend of mine, and they just do some amazing, like they're such horror fans, and all of their songs are very horror themed and movie related, and they're just fantastic. If you like the creepy and you like hard crunching punk metal kind of bands, definitely check them out. And then you can find me. Oh, thank you, Brandy. Brandy's throwing up all my info. You can find me on Twitter at rmsilvestrini. Give me a follow there. I have a Patreon that I do. I have a show every Thursday night called Movies, Music, and Mayhem. This week we are going to be watching. I'm still trying to figure out what we can watch, but it's going to be so much fun. It's either going to be super creepy, a classic that I would love for you guys to see, or like old TV specials. So come hang out and join the Patreon, join my Discord, and hang out, and it's a good time.
It's awesome. Tim, what are your honorable mentions, if you have any, and where can the good people find you, bud?
Oh, do I have some?
Oh, here we go.
People can find me on Twitter at tfranco84. Unlike Chris Clark's handles, those numbers do mean something. It's my birth year. Yes, I'm a little older. I'm old. Okay.
Hey, pipe down. We're not old. We're aged.
And okay, honorable mentions. So as I mentioned, I put Ari Your Brains on like right before we started. The song it replaced was a song called Zombie A Go-Go by this quote unquote fake band called Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures. So Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures is a band. I can't remember the guy's name. He's like a rockabilly artist, but he's good friends with Rob Zombie. And Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures is a fictional band that is in the Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. They're playing at a party that is in Halloween 2. But the song Zombie A Go-Go is really good, just kind of rockabilly, like horror song. And then they have another song that I consider putting on my list, but it's a little less like Halloween-y, but it's a song I like more called Macon County Morgue, which is also really good. And then I had, there's a song called A New Beginning by this band called this artist known as Wolfie's Just Fine, and it's actually Jean Lajoie, who's in The League, but he does this like folk like artist like band where, and this song, A New Beginning, is a song all about Friday the 13th Part 5, and and the music video is great. I recommend watching the video, but it's basically like a kid, and I relate to it because it's like a kid, he's at his friend's house and it's the first time seeing this horror movie, and it's his like experiences watching it, how it's terrifying him, but it's how it's also like, should I be watching this? Like, this girl's naked, there's nudity. I feel like I'm enjoying this, but I don't know if I should be. And it's like so relatable if you're like a young kid and you grew up watching horror movies, because we have all had that experience watching like a horror movie, especially like an early slasher. And then my last pick is oh man, I just forgot what I was going to say now. I had another one, but I forgot it. Yep, it's gone.
It's gone? It's dead?
You talk and maybe it'll come back. It's gone.
all cool. Okay. Just let me know. Just let me know. Just let me
Oh,
know.
I know. Sorry. Any song by the rock band, the Swedish rock band Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're very familiar with them. They're kind of like, I think they might be off-putting to some people because they're kind of they have a very specific image. So if you're a religious person, you might not enjoy it, but it's very kind of like almost like a bit that they do. But they're really good, and they have a song. If I had to pick one song, it would probably be the song "Dance Macabre" by Ghost. It's great. So yeah, check them out.
Yeah. My honorable mentions, a lot of, like, as I said, there were a couple Meatloaf songs I could have put on instead of Don't Leave Your Mark on Me. Original Sin, Where the Rubber Meets the Road, Amnesty is Granted. There's also Hot Patootie I could have put on from Rocky Horror, but I decided to go a little bit more, obviously you probably never heard of the other songs I said, but I decided to go with something that was very, very Ghost related with Don't Leave Your Mark on Me. But also, it's interesting you mentioned Little Red Riding Hood, Rachel, because I had a song called Little Red Riding Hood by the Big Bopper that I was going to put on. It's the B-side to Chantilly Lace. It's about the wolf eating the grandma.
Chantilly Lace isn't very Halloween.
It isn't, but it's B-side.
I don't know. Go back and listen to those lyrics. It's super fucking creepy.
I'm gonna ring. Hello, baby. Yeah, but yeah. Other than that, I think my list is I could have put alternate songs from Beetlejuice or an alternate song from Little Shop. I think my list is pretty set. I really felt like this is a good kind of mix because I knew that you guys were going to bring the heat and bring a lot of great stuff to this, and I'm very proud of how this playlist came out. So, you guys can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. So before I head us out, I'm just going to say that next week for Suddenly Soundtracks, we are going to be doing Soundboard Survivor Island retro video game soundtracks with Some Call Me Johnny and his crew and Sean. This is going to be fun. It's for charity. I'm going to link you the charity on Twitter, and it's going to be in the description. Any donation that comes in is going to be going towards the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So make sure to check that out when you can. It's Wednesday, November 4th at 10 p.m. EST, our usual time. It's a day after the election, and I feel like with streaming for charity, whatever happens. It's not going to affect that stream or whatever. So it's for the children. So also make sure on Friday we're going to be doing Sleepy Hollow. On Saturday we're going to be doing a double feature Trick or Treat and Halloween. And yes, we're going to have the Safe Space on November 3rd. So guys, from Tim, from Rachel, from
one other quick thing, Chris, I want to shout out. Keep your eye on like social media for like the Smash Cancer stream that's being put together for our good friend Kevin Smets. So there's a GoFundMe out there. Check out the GoFundMe and keep an ear out and an eye out for this stream that's going to be happening. But
it's a 24-hour stream.
Support our friend Kevin, and we're all thinking of him, and we're all here for him. He's gonna beat it.
It's going to be a 24-hour stream from the 14th through the 15th, but the start time has not been set yet. So keep your eye out on Twitter for that.
And we'll make graphics, and we'll plug it as soon as we know more details, because all of us are going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. Because Kevin, we love him, and he's the greatest. And cancer can go suck a cock. It's really terrible. I hate cancer. It's terrible. Yeah. I'm sorry that was harsh, but cancer is bad, and and we all love Kevin. So from Tim, from Rachel, from Danny, and myself, I say to you, keep rocking, and we're going to end with the commercial for also the additional extra live stream we're going to be doing in that weekend. So bada boom.
Ben?
Oh, right. Announcement time.
On November 7th, Ben, myself, as well as a few other close friends will be joining forces together, online through Discord. Not exactly a safe idea to be all gathered up now, is it? Anyway, Ben, you want to tell them this year's theme?
But of course, this year, we are celebrating Pac-Man's 40th anniversary with Pac-Man Fever.
And that's it. We're just going to be playing the Buckner and Garcia song for 24 hours straight.
No, we're not. We will be spending the whole event playing a bunch of Pac-Man games. Yes, there's more than just a classic arcade lineup, believe it or not. You have games like Pac-Man World, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, Pac-Land, Pac-Attack.
2-pack?
No, John. No. As always, we'll be raising money for CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, helping children in need, and in this year especially, they really need it. This year's major incentive prize will be a Pac-Man 40th Anniversary arcade machine. Look at this thing!
That thing is a beaut. I want one for myself, damn it.
It's a minimum $50 donation. It will be limited to North American residents only. I know, kind of a change of how we usually do things, but to make up for it, we will also be giving away a Nintendo Switch. A minimum $25 donation, and everyone's eligible for that.
You can live in Pac-Land and we'll somehow get it to you. And as always, we're not alone for this adventure. You got myself, Ben, and my uncle and my family from SGB returning from some laughs, but we also got some guests, including, but not limited to, Chris Clark from the PJ Campbell Network, my co-hosts Nathan, Dan and Pat from Console Wars, The Pituation from WMMR, Tony Pearson, Dean DeFalco from Geek Aid, Kelly from Florida, the Mad Hatter from Radio Bucks, King K, and a bunch of others that they answer their voicemails. That's November 7th starting at noon EST and ending the next day at noon EST, and it's not in the middle of daylight savings time ending this year. Oh my god, this year is saved. And as before, it will be simulcast on YouTube and Twitch, covering both bases there. It's Pac-Man Fever for Extra Life's Game Day. Come on down and watch a yellow dude and his girlfriend gobble a whole bunch of balls.